Today we're at the Stillwater Area High School for DaVinci Fest. The middle and high school students have been working on art and science projects, so let's see what they have.
My project is called Wild Embers, based off a song we sang here in Bellefontaine. And it basically is a woman's song, a declaration of just all the history that we have as women. Nothing can stop women from progressing and getting the rights that they deserve, and finding that passion and determination is within my art piece. For my digital art, what inspired me was creators like The Odd Ones Out, Jane Animation, Alex Hirsch, essentially just digital animators. I can draw water. I've never drawn water before because I've always shied away from it because it's such a delicate element. And drawing that took 3.5 hours with the sketch and all, and I'm just really excited that I got to show the depth and the tranquility and the different elements of water and the shine and everything. Is super cool.
It's a painting of outer space, what I think it would look like to me. My sister spilled her paint on her painting that she was making, and then she was going to throw it away, and I thought that was a waste of paint. So I took the painting and turned it into something different myself.
I used alcohol markers to create it. The idea behind it, I really wanted to make the person standing here feel really small and cold. A lot of lighting and photography. I really like the way shadows are cast in certain pictures I've seen, and I kind of wanted to recreate that within the piece. I learned a lot about perspective and placing people within perspective.
So my painting here is with oil painting, and I try to describe what it feels like to have negative emotions. I will say, doing this piece in the past, this was my first time with oil painting, and before this I was doing 5 different pieces and I did not like them, and this was just me having straight anger at a piece. So the smudges on the side describe people's emotions, and it also describes my emotions in this piece. My inspiration was really my face in my mirror, and all the colors you're seeing is actually what my colors were portraying in my mirror. I'm a person who likes it to look centered, and this kind of got me out of my comfort zone because it's not totally how I wanted it. I actually tried to discard it at first, but I just kept it because it's imperfect, and I actually like this with this piece.
So this painting, I wanted it to signify 2 different figures creating unity, coming together as one. And I wanted it to be my piece is called Mystic Lovers, and I wanted it to combine the difficulties in the world and the troubles in the world. But once you found your one person, everything is blocked out. The inspiration was actually based on me and my relationship and what I've gone through, and I thought that this piece described it very well on how I used my materials. I discovered that charcoal smears pretty easily, and I discovered that abstract art is one of my favorite things now once I did an abstract piece.
So this is called the Cube of Fate. Each side has a different meaning correlating to something that you might get on that roll. So reverse, chaos, time, normal, light, and insight. My dad is very much into H.P. Lovecraft and sort of that horror genre of, oh, that's very cool and that's very his aesthetic, but I also want to incorporate my aesthetic, so that colorfulness but still kind of creepy vibe if you look at it a certain way. I was watching a video and they were talking about oh, crayon's just for little kids, and I'm like, no, it's not. I used crayon and it was one of my favorite sides. You can use whatever medium you want. No one can stop you.
organization that promotes sustainability in the community. What that means in sustainability is we focus specifically on preservation, improvement of natural resources, creating healthy lifestyles in the community, and then also creating economic vitality. So within that is we work with businesses on a thing called Green Business Directory to promote waste reduction and energy conservation in many businesses. We also have natural resource groups working on removing trash, adopt a drain for storm drains, rain garden maintenance and things like that. So a lot of natural resource. We also have a healthy community part that basically works on things like transportation. So making our streets more livable, safer for pedestrians, safer for bicycling, improvements in bicycling capability around the city. But the biggest thing we're working on right now is really promoting an understanding about climate change and what climate change means to Stillwater and what Stillwater as a community needs to be doing to address climate change and positively affecting climate change in the future. And so we're here today really to reach out to residents of Stillwater, especially the younger generation now within this environment, to find how much they're interested in what's going on with climate change and what we can do in Stillwater to improve that and make Stillwater a better and livable city long term.
Okay, we help to provide awareness for people that have disabilities. So this is Cameron and she has cerebral palsy, and this is Kathleen and she has epilepsy. And so this started to promote awareness to people who can't go on regular roller coasters. And so we wanted to show that it is possible for everybody to be able to do that. Today's plan is to show other amusement parks to make rides that are accessible to be able to provide their needs. And so it's very important to be able to do this.
Here at DaVinci Fest, because we're doing a kickoff for a new nonprofit that we have. I have dreamed of a long time for a community center for our cities, and now we're able to start doing it. So this is our kickoff. We want to introduce people to the vision and just get their ideas. What would each of them like? What's their story about what they would put in a community center? I was a school nurse for a long time when I worked with families, and it's a long ways to drive to take your children somewhere to swim or to play. And seniors want a place where they can go 24/7 to walk and to swim and to gather and to meet. So it'll be an inclusive, an equality sharing place, a gathering place after a lot of COVID when we couldn't do that. And we haven't had that in our community.
I signed up for DaVinci Fest because I know Julie through my networking groups, and I think it's really a fun idea to show off different things that the community has. And I like the idea of having projects for the kids. So I do interviews of people's grandparents, and so today I'm actually doing interviews of the kids to send to their grandparents, and it's really just fun that it's interactive.
So we wanted to be able to talk about the opportunities that we provide within our organization, anything from counseling to credit counseling services to youth services that we do here within the schools and the communities.
Actually, Family Means does at the Stillwater High School. We do have in-house wellness centers that we support, so it's important. We have a firm belief in school-based mental health, so it's nice to be here as well.
So we're both board members, and we're part of the education team who goes around and will do what we can to support our mission of educating the public about the kingdom of fungi. More mushrooms in particular, but the kingdom of fungi in general. The kingdom of fungi is one of the largest kingdoms of all the plants, animals, etc. Mushrooms are everywhere. Fungi actually is very important to many of the things. We wouldn't have beer without fungi. Yeast, so there's molds, yeast, rust, etc. But mushrooms in particular are very important because they're a good food source, but they're also a wonderful educational opportunity because they are very photogenic. They're everywhere in the woods. Many people, because of COVID, finally rediscovered the woods, and it's very important to learn what you see when you're out there. And they're so varied. There's a lot of nutritional value in some of them. There's some deadly ones, there's psychedelic ones. There's a number of things to learn about mushrooms.
They're also highly misunderstood by a lot of people. There's a lot of misconceptions about them. So it's really important that people are able to get some education about them, demystify them a little bit, help people understand what mushrooms are safe and some of the great assets about them. There are even ways that mushrooms can help the environment that are being used in places where they can clean the air. Right now, if there were no mushrooms, nothing would decompose in the forest properly. I mean, it's just they're an essential part of our planet and every aspect of our life. Even though most of the time we don't even realize the part that they're playing. So
outreach is really important at the library. There's some people that don't know about us, that don't know that we do a lot of things. And it's really important to be a part of the community and to try and get people to draw in. And also just to have fun and be a part of community events.
My project was the study of total dissolved solids in the beverages people buy. We have a probe and we collected the data, and we first got all the minerals from the labels, and then we measured them too and compared the two. First of all, I like science and I wanted to do something, and then the DaVinci Fest was something that I wanted to do. So then we looked online and saw this probe, and we're like, okay, we could do a really cool experiment with this probe, and then we came up with this. How many minerals are actually in our drinks and how much total dissolved solids are in our drinks we buy and consume.
So this project is sort of to get kids to interact with pre-coded robots that'll kind of get them interested, easy to learn, that kind of thing. And why I'm interested is I just really like the idea of having things do stuff for us.
Instead of using lines of code, these have blocks that already have things written down on them, and it's pretty easy to click them together and make them do things.
I always liked electronics, and I think they're really cool. It's really easy to control, so I really like them, and they're really customizable.
I mainly got inspired to work on this project because, like Travis said, I've always been interested in robotics and stuff, and I heard that there was a club at school from Egg over here, so I'm just yeah. And then I decided to join it, and I've been having a lot of fun since then.
Well, these are data bots. It holds 17 sensors, and they hook up to an app called Visi, and you can track CO2, air quality, humidity, lots of different sensors.
You can use the air pressure sensor to help with weather too.
So tell me about this project and how it all works.
So we got a grant recently for tons of sensors, and we have different sensors like the heart rate monitor, we have sound sensors, we have lots of different ones, and we are showing people how to use them and using the data for research for our science experiments.
Well, our teacher, Mr. Sirik, he got the grant, and he just thought that we'd be interested in it, and we saw all these sensors, what a cool thing, right? We're also planning to also use the data bots you probably talked to over there.
I think it's mostly the magnetic sensors and the magnets, which are in this bag right here. So some of these magnets are really, really powerful, and we get them close to a magnet, and some magnets that are smaller, but they're way more powerful than the bigger magnets, and it's just really cool to see the outcome. And some other magnets, they're very weak.
I got really interested because my friends were just really good at it.
Like that. See if it works.
Well, robotics right here is just basically about STEM.
well, science and all the other, other stuff. And we make all of these robots. We have code and building, and we all have to work as a team to make a robot like this.
A lot of things that influenced us this year. We wanted a smaller chassis, so we slimmed down our chassis a bunch. Some other things that we wanted a backlight, so we use that a lot in different models. As we have this one, which is we use as a backplate to help line up during like odd-ton period, and it also serves as a battery mount. And we have license plates that multifunction to hold our camera. So it's literally how we determine what we want is have group brainstorming sessions where we sit around, we think of ideas, and we democratically vote on which ones we think are best. So we influence each other is how we make our decisions.
I'd say the importance of diversity, because I mean, when building a complex robot, you need a lot of ideas, and to do that, you need a lot of people thinking from different directions. So to have different people coming from different backgrounds, it helps a lot with, oh, this idea impacts another idea, and then we can combine two people's ideas, and it builds up over time, and it just creates this massively just successful project. Really expands, I guess, the creativity you can achieve.